Hello everyone. In this lecture I am going to explain line by line the famous sonnet 150 by William Shakespeare, but before I explain it, please like the video and subscribe the channel. Well, let me first tell you the background, theme and main message of it, and then you will understand it easily. Actually, this is one of Shakespeare's later sonnets. It is the part of the Dark Lady sequence, where the speaker expresses intense, often painful love for a woman who doesn't always seem to deserve it. The theme centers on irrational love, how we can love someone even when we know they're unworthy or hurtful. The main message is, true love can be blind, illogical, and even self-destructive, but when love is genuine, it doesn't always make sense, and that's what makes it so powerful. Let's start it line by line. Oh, from what power hast thou this powerful might? It is the beginning line. Here the speaker begins with a question filled with wonder. He asks the lady, where did you get this strange power? He's amazed that she has such control over his emotions. Even though she may not have many admirable qualities, she still holds strong influence over his heart. This line sets the tone of confusion and awe at how love can overpower reason. With insufficiency my heart to sway? In this line, he continues the same thought. He says, even with your shortcomings, you still manage to control my heart. Insufficiency means her lack of goodness or virtue. So he's basically saying, even though you're not good enough, you still sway my heart. How is that possible? He's shocked that love can bloom despite flaws. And then says, to make me give the lie to my true sight. Here, the speaker admits that love makes him doubt what he actually sees. Give the lie to my true sight means that he chooses to believe something false, even when his eyes tell him the truth. He sees her faults clearly, but love tricks him into ignoring them. This shows how love can blind people to reality. And then says, and swear that brightness doth not grace the day. Now in this, he gives a powerful example. He says that his love for her makes him question obvious truths, like denying that daylight is bright. He's saying, you make me believe in lies so strongly that I'd say even the sun isn't bright. This shows how deeply love can confuse someone's judgment. Whence hast thou this becoming of things ill? Here, the speaker is once again puzzled. He asks, where did you get this strange charm that makes even bad things look good on you? The phrase becoming of things ill means that even when she does wrong, it somehow looks attractive or impressive. He can't understand how her flaws still seem graceful, that in the very refuse of thy deeds. This line continues the thought. He says, even the worst parts of what you do, the refuse, or trash, still seem strong and skillful. He's amazed that even her worst actions seem impressive to him. This emphasizes how deep his admiration runs, even when he knows he shouldn't feel it. There is such strength in warranties of skill. In this line, he points out that even her wrongdoings seem to carry strength and confidence, as if they were done with skill. Warranties means guarantee or authority. So he's saying, even your faults seem like they come from talent, not weakness. His love is so powerful that it turns bad into good. That in my mind thy worst all best exceeds. Now he confesses something shocking. Even the worst things she does seem better than the best things anyone else does. That's how twisted love has made his thinking. In simple words, your worst is better than anyone else's best. It's another way of showing how blind and strong his love is. Who taught thee how to make me love thee more? The speaker now asks, almost in frustration, who taught you to make me love you more, even when I have more reasons to hate you? It's like he's saying, why does your bad behavior make me fall deeper in love? He's confused by his own emotions and her ability to control them. And then says, the more I hear and see just cause of hate? This line explains the previous one. He says, even when I see and hear things that should make me hate you, my love for you grows. It shows that his emotions go against all logic. Love, in his case, ignores all the just cause for hate. He loves her in spite of everything. Oh, though I love what others do abhor. Here, the speaker admits openly, I love you even though others find you disgusting or wrong. The word abhor means to hate or be repelled by something. So he's saying, everyone else thinks badly of you, but I can't help loving you. It's another way of showing that his love is irrational but real. And then says, with others thou shouldst not abhor my state. In this line, the speaker says, you shouldn't hate me like the others do. He's asking her for some understanding or sympathy. If everyone else criticizes him for loving her, he hopes at least she won't. It's a plea. Don't be like the rest, don't look down on me for loving you. If thy unworthiness raised love in me. Now the speaker starts his conclusion. He says, If your unworthiness, that is, all your faults, still made me fall in love with you. He's pointing out that even though she didn't deserve love, he gave it anyway. More worthy I to be beloved of thee. This final line ends the poem beautifully. He says, that means I'm even more worthy to be loved by you. In simple terms, if I could love someone like you so deeply, even with your flaws, then I must be someone with a big and true heart, and therefore, I deserve your love in return. It's a powerful twist, showing how much he values his own capacity to love, even if the object of that love seems undeserving. I hope you have enjoyed this lecture, but please don't forget like and subscription to my channel. Thank you.